I didn't know what the hell a red card was. That is Donald Trump from the Oval Office explaining how he personally got the World Cup disciplinary rulings overturned when it came to a United States player. All over an athlete he barely knows, on a rule he can't explain, in a sport he knows nothing about. But what Donald Trump knows is exactly one thing. Someone told the United States no. And to Donald Trump, that's telling him no. And we all know that Donald Trump does not pay attention when someone says no. No does not mean no to Donald Trump. And Team USA's Folarin Balogun, the team's leading scorer in this World Cup, got a straight red card in our previous game for stepping on a Bosnian player's ankle. Cleats went right down the player's calf, stepped on his ankle, got a red card, automatic one-game ban for the next game. Now, whether or not that red card was warranted, up for debate. I'm just going to say that cleats down the back of somebody's calf and then stepping on their ankle usually results in a red card, but I can see the argument that there is a incidental contact. Either way, by ruling on the field and checking VAR, this ruling stands. There is no way to appeal it according to FIFA's own rules. But Team USA, they wanted Balogun for the round of 16 game against Belgium. Now, we ended up losing that game, so I guess no harm, no foul. But the most corrupt president, Donald Trump, called Gianni Infantino, a known Trump fangirl and the corrupt leader of the most corrupt organization on the planet, FIFA, personally saw to it that this red card was overturned. And apparently this call happened on Thursday, and then the United States pulled together a full-scale legal argument guided by the totally legit, non-Nepo baby Andrew Giuliani. And they appealed to FIFA on an unappealable call. And FIFA, the same organization that our FBI and DOJ spent a decade investigating and busting over one of the most complex and widespread bribery scandals in the world, that organization took the phone call. And they said, yeah, never mind, forget that the red card even happened. Well, actually, they said, you know how that player is suspended? We're going to suspend his suspension. Totally unprecedented, has never happened in the history of the sport. Well, except for the time they did it for Cristiano Ronaldo when he elbowed that dude in the face. Different situation, I guess, right? Either way, it was Donald Trump stepping in to try to interfere with a World Cup match. Now, in fairness, FIFA says that there was no foreign influence, that they were totally independent. But soccer aside, I am more concerned that Donald Trump and his administration is bragging that they had this much influence, that they were able to call FIFA, in their minds, and change the rules. If you ask Trump, this was 100% his doing and 100% his idea. And his own explanation for getting involved. I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And this was a man who literally said that he doesn't know what a red card is, decided that he is more qualified than the 3 officials that were on the field, the VAR official, and 100 years of soccer bureaucracy.
So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete, and I understand sports really well, really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was 2 guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going, no, these were 2 great athletes that got tangled up, and this referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past. I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy, but very suspect. If you'd like, I'll provide you with the past. He made a call that nobody could believe. You know, even people on the other side, they say, oh, we got lucky. Wow, and it's very interesting. They say they don't show them in slow motion. And I never realized that. I never heard of that before, that they're not allowed to review in slow motion because it's so different. Because you'll take one little quarter of a second and you'll see that a hand is touching a neck or you'll see something. Whereas when you see it in fast motion, it will look like two guys collided, which is really what happened. They got sort of entangled. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair. But when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So, yes, I asked for a review by FIFA.
Of course, Belgium was livid, and so were many other countries across the globe. Even the European Federation, UEFA, said that it was astonished that FIFA crossed this red line. And the actual former head of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, and this is a man who was running FIFA during their bribery years. The bribery scandals all happened under his watch. That man said, red cards are not overturned by political phone calls. Sepp Blatter, this is a man who is associated with, accused, or implicated, never, ever actually had charges followed through with. He was ultimately acquitted in all these scandals. But he had scandals in 98, 2011, 2013, 2015, all of it. Sepp Blatter was out there as the voice of integrity. That is the room we're in now with Donald Trump. And through all of this, I do have to feel bad for Balogun, the player at the center of all of this. After the original call, he said, I never want to react out of anger and out of emotion. There's still lots of people we're inspiring, little kids, boys, girls, who are watching, and we have to show them the correct way to handle things, even when you think it's unjust. What a great lesson from a great player, a decent human being, something that our president should learn. The game, it ended up for the United States not working out. But imagine if Balogun scored the game-winning goal. Then you are looking at a situation where the president of the United States influenced a soccer game, a worldwide soccer game. The most watched spectacle on the planet, the World Cup. The fact that Donald Trump had that audacity blows my mind. And by the way, genuine comment here. Aside from soccer, what was your biggest blown call moment? Your sports fans out there, I know you got them. Whether it's something like, for me, I still remember my 8th grade championship basketball game, the drive through the lane, how that's not a foul, it still sticks with me. I don't get it. Also, for your Cowboys fans out there, Dez totally caught it. Tell me your biggest blown call moment. Put it in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. But back to this situation. Forget loving America for a second, because most of my audience is American. What actually explains all of this is that you have two of the neediest men on the planet who found each other. This is just an issue of Donald Trump meeting another human being in Gianni Infantino that do not believe that anything that it should be merit-based can't be bought off. Think about it. Think of their achievements. Think of Donald Trump's achievements. Begging for someone else's Nobel Peace Prize. Buying his own Peace Prize through FIFA. Not doing anything worthy of monuments, yet still insisting to put his name on the Kennedy Center and putting an arch to himself in the middle of Washington, D.C. None of that came from hard work or talent. It came from overwhelming wealth and grift. Again, 7 months ago, that same FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, invented an award out of thin air called the FIFA Peace Prize because Donald Trump had been throwing such a fit over the Nobel Peace Prize. No other nominees, no jury, no criteria that anyone can point to, just a trophy handed to Donald Trump because he was Donald Trump. And of course, handed to Donald Trump at the Kennedy Center, where Donald Trump installed his own board to put his own name on the side of the building. Neither of these men, neither of them, have ever accomplished anything that they didn't first invent an award for, or pay for, or grift their way to the top. And the head of this organization that is famous for corruption, famous, joined up with this president and decided together that the actual rules of the actual World Cup are now to be kayfabe. They're now to be WWE. And I would love to tell you that this is a new low for FIFA, but it's not. Dave Zirin over at The Nation, and I've reported this previously too, but he reminded people last weekend that there are still people out there that believe that FIFA rigged the 1978 World Cup to help the host nation Argentina win it. At the time, Argentina was run by a military dictatorship, and they snatched up an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 dissidents during the games and tortured or executed them. While the World Cup was playing out, they even were having political executions next door to the stadium while the final was happening. You're going to understand this. When Donald Trump and Gianni Infantino are bragging about the success of this World Cup, they're not bragging about the most accessible and the most beautiful game on earth because they rigged matches, because they rigged elections, because they crammed commercials into every hydration break. The World Cup doesn't depend on that. The World Cup doesn't depend on Donald Trump treating foreign teams and players like enemies. What it depends on is the players. Players that grew up on the streets, on the fields, in the dirt, playing the game they love. And the pride of the fans celebrating the achievements and the hard work of those players. Achievements that Infantino and Donald Trump will never ever have the joy of celebrating without a price tag attached.